5 mark. So I'm gonna share my screen, open my agenda. Let's go to screens. I'll just share. We can do this.
Hi, everyone.
Good morning, Amin.
Good morning.
Yeah. Thank you. Good morning. Good. No, it's my evening.
Good day. Good day.
Yeah. Good day.
All right, and who else now? We've got Monique here, Ashley, and Forrest. All right, good enough. Let's get started with our check-ins. So let's see. Let me jump back here and do a little typity type. Who's here? All right, I'll get started. I will just. I shared briefly with Willie 2 weeks ago. I pulled a muscle in my shoulder, and it has. I re-injured it about a week ago. So I want to apologize for not being present for these last 2 weeks. Really, it's been quite a challenge for me to function and needing to take good care of myself. That said, my focus this week is to get really dialed in on the tasks that I'm behind on. We've been finding some little glitches and things with the PAN payouts, with the source cred calculations, getting the praise added up and things. And physically has also affected me mentally. So I just haven't been able to get my head into all of that stuff. This morning, I'm here. Got all of the things calculated in the agenda, and my focus is to knock that out. And I'm stoked that Hannah's here in Costa Rica. We can actually sit down and vibe on this a little bit. So my priority for the team today is to go through this agenda, get everybody's feedback on what's most important, and then knock this stuff out this week. And that's what I got. So I'll pass it to Willie.
Thanks, Danny. Great to see you guys. Happy to be back in the States and back on track. I've been pretty distant for, I guess, 3 weeks now with the Shapeshift launch, getting ready for that, and then all of the engagement that happens right after you launch a big token and do a huge airdrop, and trying to make sure that everything was good to go there before ECC. Last week at ECC, though, I was really happy to be able to help represent Giveth and promote it everywhere I could. And people were so happy to hear about it. That it was really, really awesome to see all the excitement from people hearing about Giveth, and people who hadn't heard about Giveth who are hearing about it that are already, working with activist groups and are really interested in using Giveth to help those activist groups get funding, stuff like that. So that was amazing. And yeah, my focus for this week, I definitely should have more time to spend with you guys going forward. I think where I can most have the most impact is with Give token stuff, the Give economy, getting that ready to go, and supporting the Give economy team on the sprints. And I think Forrest has a really good outline of what our goals are. And then also on the governance process, anything that needs support there, like the governance process or the organizational structure. I know that was one of the things that we were working on when I was last checked in. And yeah, and on that note too, something if we haven't done yet, something to consider is getting Discourse hooked up now that we have our forum up into SourceGrid, if it isn't already, so we can start tracking contributions there. And I'll pass to Hannah.
Hello. Let's see. So yeah, last week I was having some connection issues during the calls. Also a little bit absent, but super excited to be in Costa Rica, meet people in person, get some more kind of projects and print on some stuff with Danny. And let's see, super happy that everyone got to represent Giveth at the ETH conference. That's awesome. But I don't have any real updates other than going to be doing a lot this week. And this morning I have to go into town and try to fix my computer. Because once you're in Costa Rica or Central America, you're just bound to have computer struggles. So I'm learning that. And that is it for me. I'll pass it to Ashley. If Ashley's not there right now, or Ashley, we can't hear you. Oh, there.
Yes, no, maybe so.
Like this. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Okay.
got you.
Take the earbuds out. All right. Everybody, it seems like a trend. Everybody's been a little distant this week, a little distracted, and I have as well. So I have some tasks that I'm a little bit behind on, but I'm ready this week to jump into a lot of these things and like jump into this source cred thing and get this figured out, so that we can get it all on track, create a contributors guide so that people know how to get rewarded. And I guess on that note, that's something that we might want to touch on the agenda today. Now that we have the circles kind of figured out, how are we going to move forward with regular reward payments? Are we going to create proposals to each circle, or should we just propose to one campaign, or how should that look moving forward? Yeah, so creating that documentation and some other documentation. So I think I'm going to be doing a lot of documentation this week, and that's kind of my focus, and getting with Kai and getting the source cred stuff figured out so we can get everybody added and get it connected to where it needs to be. And with that, I will pass it to Amin.
Hello again. I have not attended a governance call for a long time. Today, my intention is to talking about hiring, talking about the practice, the scenario which allow us to hire a new member for some activity, or a part-time, a consult, or a full-time resource. Also, we talk about the circles, the government, how we can manage the circles. Yeah, that's my main intentions. I pass it to Griff. Griff, you're mute.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. I've been out and about in Paris. Just sorry for being a little late. What was the exact question that we're supposed to answer?
Today, for our governance call, we just check in with what's going on with you for this week, what your priorities are, and anything in particular pressing for governance that you'd like to prioritize.
Yeah, my big priority is just to get back in the swing of things. I'm super stoked to really dive into things with Donna and get her onboarded into taking on a lot of the coordination around the Give economy production. And of course, hanging out with Mateo in real life, figuring out the Giveth house and how to move forward there. And that's pretty much it. And really just also while I'm still in Paris, promoting the Give economy to the random people that are around. And I'll pass it to Mateo.
Hey guys, sorry I'm late. I was running with Griff to get in time. Happy to see you all. My main intention is to talk about the circles again and again with the Give economy. That's really exciting to see. So who's missing? Will, have you gone?
Yes, I've gone. Let's see.
I haven't gone yet.
Marco? Yeah.
Go ahead, man.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. Nice to see you all back. HCC is over. That's great. Well, my intentions for the call, mainly all the updates that are listed on the agenda. This week, I'll probably be more working on the Give economy stuff, going through Lauren's document that she suggested, trying to map all things together and see, what are the next steps, how we can approach the design of all these things that actually make sense. So that'll be my goal for the week. Distractions. I'm just feeling a whole lot tired. That's all. And back to you, Danny.
Great.
Oh, Monique.
All right.
Monique
We
is waving.
got
Sorry,
a Monique there. Yeah.
Sorry for you. My intention just to talk a little bit about the merging that two dev calls together and just have one sprint planning for, one product instead of two. That's was I requested to have a talk about it, and also hiring workflow that I asked yesterday, community calls, and I added in the Notion with your permission, Danny.
Yep, I saw that.
Yeah, and that's it. And sync with you all of you team members. Thank you. Back to you, Danny.
No, it's fine.
Great, thanks.
I think we still have Lauren and Forrest.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll go. Yeah, cool, awesome. I'm happy to see a bunch of people on the call. It was a sad ghost town last week, and I missed you all. So this week my focus is mostly Give Economy stuff. I want to work on the copy for the design stuff for Marco, and I'm gonna have a chat with Tommy, or like a meta radio interview, probably today. And we're going to talk about the Give Economy. I also want to work on kind of like just like an overview, like maybe we do like an announcement Medium post. I think that would be really cool. So these are my focuses for the week. Don't have any things to add to the governance agenda, and I'll pass it to Forrest.
Thanks, Lauren. I am feeling super pregnant, and so both in my personal and work life, I'm like really in preparation mode. So this week I'm looking ahead to the next few months, and gonna like brainstorm a bit more future thinking, road mapping, and just make sure that all the teams that I'm a part of have good like forward thinking plans. I have been doing some great onboarding with Donna. I'm going to keep that going, and also want to come up with more of a transition plan for the communication circle when I step away for a period of time. And also I need to catch up on some of my payments stuff. So that's going to be something I do today as well. I'll pass it back to you, Danny.
Great. Okay, thank you, everyone. What a good full house we have today. So I kind of scoured the Discord and the forums to get all of the different things that are going on. There's obviously more on here than we could dive into fully. Maybe we can go through the agenda first and see if there's anything that we need to hack on together or update in the forums. But so let's start there with what's in the forum, in the advice process. So the PAN overpayment correction, I've gotten quite a few feedback from that. It looks like corrections are needed in a few different places. So Hannah and I are going to really dive into that and go through it, and then also work with Ashley on the source cred thing. We're learning a lot as we actually, now that we have data to analyze, we can see where some things would be, they need some improvement. And one of them is, I think, what Willie mentioned, that we can get discourse now that we have that process in there. I think that will help balance out the credit that's coming in. So definitely need to work on a few more things for that overpayment correction and get those out this week. I also saw that the Giveth values revision is still in the advice process. There was a vote, but it did not pass, probably due to timing, being with everybody in all the places we've been for the last couple of weeks. Lauren, I know you posted that one. Do you want to give any update on the Giveth values status?
Oh yeah, well I tweaked it just a little bit based on the feedback. Like I changed the altruism. I think I changed like one bullet point, but I just incorporated everybody's feedback as people commented in the forum, and then I posted it up there just so that we could pass it. But yeah, I think I tagged everybody in the channel. Like I tagged everyone unicorn, but it seems like it just didn't get enough votes to pass in the time. So maybe I'll just make another proposal. Like I'll make another vote on our gift out and we can vote for it. Because I don't think anyone like strongly disagreed.
Okay, great. Yeah, so the number 41 did not pass, so we can just make another one, and everybody can keep an eye for that. I also see that the initial Give mining configuration is also up on the forum. And the last comment I saw was that what might take some time to monitor the DApp node progress as part of the advice process. So I don't know if we need to formalize anything in there and check in on it, get feedback and update the proposal at all. Does anyone have anything to share about that one? I would expect it would be quiet.
I see Griff loading,
this
but
moment.
I guess we could decide the initial unlocked percentage and like the time limit, which like doesn't really depend on DApp node, but the percent allocated like to each of the pools. That is the part that we're going to monitor DApp node's liquidity mining. So I like made a comment about this in the forum. So I think it would be great to get like feedback of what people think. Right now we have, I think, 10% initially open and a 5-year stream.
Okay, so while we're here in this meeting, is there anything that could be discussed? Something that we can confirm or
I think in the interest of time, if anyone has opinions, I think it's just easier to do it in the forum and then go from there, because it sounds like we have a lot to talk about in this call.
Yep, we sure do. Just check in to see if there's any additional questions. Thank you. All right. So that one is up there. And then I did create an item for the rGive Q2 token distribution, just going back through all of the cred and praise for the last 3 months and found some issues with Ramin and Mohammed. So verifying all of the trace team in order to get those out this week. But that should be on track to be complete this week. Let's see. The other thing is any RDAO proposals, just the same things that are currently in the advice process right now. We'll get the new values one up this week from Lauren, and then I'll get the rGive token distributions up. When we do the token distribution one, there'll be an actual vote for each person. So that's kind of going to be a heavy one this week. Okay, the other things I have on here are the discussion requests that have been brought up that I've seen so far. So these are the things maybe we could take a little more time diving into. Amin, I know I heard you say the Giveth dev calls, there was a discussion to actually do some sort of merger. Do you want to chat about that? Is there a question that you want to get feedback on from the group here, or consensus could be achieved at this time?
Monique said that, Monique suggested to merge the, Monique, can you provide some info?
Yeah, I just want to have all of the opinions before going to forum. Or I don't know it's necessary to go to the forum or not, but I think that we have overheads managing Giveth.io and Giveth trace separately. We can merge these two calls and have standard Scrum routines and ceremonies. For example, having 2-hour meetings for planning bi-weekly, and and we have just one meetings in middle of the sprint for grooming and the discussions about the special issues that we have. And this is my idea. I think having 2 different meeting is too much, because we just have 1.5 developer in the IO, and all of the team members here can join us in just one meeting and go forward. But I want to hear your opinion. Thanks.
I support this, Monique. I think in the past it made sense because the teams were really focused on a lot of different stuff. But now that the products are becoming so aligned, I really like the idea. And this is something that Shapeshift for a long time, where we have a bunch of products where we used to have teams dedicated to each product. That doesn't really make a ton of sense, because it's not efficient, right? And the way we should be thinking about it is like, what is the most important things for us to allocate our development resources to right now? And maybe that's a feature on Giveth Trace, maybe that's a feature on Giveth, maybe it's for the Giveth economy, but we should be prioritizing those all on a level playing field and then allocating resources based on what we think are the highest priorities for the overall Give economy. And so I support this. Is that basically what you're looking for, or were you looking for any other feedback on the cadence and the amount of the time for these sessions?
I just want to edit the calendar. If everyone agrees about that, and if someone has any concerns because I know that Marco is going to attend the Giveth.io because lots of implementation has to be done on .io, for example, claiming, mining and etc. So changing that time may affect the individual schedules. So I have to ask and for everyone to see if they're able to attend just one meeting bi-weekly in Mondays, and we can have Wednesdays, for example, for grooming, etc. Maybe retrospective. We don't have retrospective for Giveth, and I think it's very important.
So I'm hearing the suggestions on the change, and I think it's good that we have this discussion about it here first. I think this should probably be a forum post to actually write what you're suggesting as the new meeting schedule and who would attend it, so folks can give any feedback on whether that works or not in there, and then we can make that change for next week based on what comes out of there. Are you comfortable making a post on forum, Monique, to propose this change?
Yeah, I can, but in the community calls we discuss about it, and I think Griff said that if it's too easy to decide, just talk about it before going to forum. And I just want to have feedbacks, and if it's okay, I think there is no need to go to decision making and consulting, stuff like that. But I'm okay. It's not that.
Amin, Mateo, what do you guys think?
Yeah, coming from a team of one, I think I'm cool with that. I don't have any restrictions on that. I want to ask Carlos, because he's also getting a lot of work from the impact graph and IO side. But no, I think that we should just agree what's going to be the regular scheduling. But yeah, I follow you. I agree that this is the best. As long as we are just in this merging process and all of it. For me, it's fine.
Okay, so Mateo, you'll check with Carlos, get some feedback back to Monique, and Monique, you'll just run with this because we don't have any objections.
One thing, Monique, do you think we need a 2 hour? Do you think we need to make it 2 hours, or do you think we could stick to the 1 hour? Because again, it's not necessarily that we're going to be doing like Trace sprint planning and IO sprint planning, but just one sprint, and maybe that sprint includes features for IO and features for Trace.
Yeah, if we do like token economy sprints, for example, have just review and just one day after that, or a very close time after the review, we have planning. It's okay, and we can do it at one meeting, each meeting 1 hour. But if we want to review and plan for both products in the same meeting, I suggest it's be 2 hours.
So what do you guys think makes sense? Because I think it could make sense for us to, instead of doing sprints for each product, to just move towards one sprint, and that could include features on all the different pieces, basically. But if we're moving towards like one dev team, one product ecosystem, maybe we don't need separate sprint plannings for each of the products.
Yeah. And that's what I'm thinking about. And all of the team members, I think, agree about it. because at this time for future, we have lots of stories linking these two together, and there is the time.
My only concern is that those weekly dev calls should really be properly planned with a clear agenda and very well facilitated, so that we make the most use of that 1 hour of our time. So like that's the only thing, because like if we start giving updates and run into some discussions, we may not have enough time to go through everything in one call. So the only thing is that those calls really need to be well prepared.
Sorry, we can have groomings for special things, for example, for designing flows or for talk about the security stuff, talk about the particular thing, and that was my idea, because we in Trace have daily meetings and discuss all about these things together for syncing with each other. And I just figure out that we spend daily at least 1 hour together, and we have a planning review for or a sprint, and after that we have planning and review for Giveth.io that some of the team members attend there. But yeah, you're right. It's our main problem here that in that calls we should just do review and planning, not discussing in details. But I think we can handle it. Amy, do you have any idea?
Yeah, I agree. Because after integration, we will have many issues common, and we can talk about general topics. And if we want to discuss more specifically, we can do it in our next daily calls. Yeah, I agree.
So what's it gonna be? 2 hours, 1 day a week, and then like any special meeting just if we need it, or what is it gonna be specifically, Moni?
I suggest having one review, and the day after that one planning, bi-weekly, at the end and start of each sprint. But if we need grooming, we can do in the middle of the sprint. Each review and planning meetings should be time box just 1 hour. It's my idea. I'm support having daily. I'm very support to have a daily that is suitable for our time. Just 15 minutes a day. This is the standard Scrum ceremony.
But we were kind of mentioning maybe making a text kind of daily sprint instead of making a call. Like everyone just keeps saying what they're up to, and if it's some necessity of having a call, we do it. But not sure if we have like the capacity or necessity to have a daily call. I don't know. I think that we tried before, and we even removed many meetings from the week and just kept one from I/O. So making a daily call, I'm not sure if that's completely necessary, but let's just put it in balance. I don't know.
It helps a lot for team formation. According to my experience. But I asked Kai if he had a bot that sends a notification and say, what did you do, what you plan to do today, and what is your blockers, and everyone answered to that bot, and it's published at the just one specific time in a day, I support this if you have a bot. But I think 2 months pass and you don't have a bot, and I support having a daily. It really helps us to sync with each other, to talk to talk about issues that we have, to have help, and know the daily plan. But it's not necessary. Yes, you're right. If anyone can attend the meeting, he said, it's my plan. I don't have any blocker, and it's okay. But having these routines helps team formation, I think. Maybe it's better that I write a specific plan in the forum, and I think there are lots of thoughts about it, and it's going to be better, I think.
Yeah, I tried to do my best capturing the feedback and the notes, and that you are going to propose something and make the changes. It does sound, based on the feedback, that it would be helpful to write that up in the forum and then make the changes. Okay, so there's I know hiring workflow is something that was added to the agenda to discuss here today. We've got 25 minutes. I also saw a few other things that were asking for feedback that I put under discussion requests here. So if anybody wants to raise their hand and say, yeah, I really want to talk about one of these things. I saw a poll from Griff about the Give 5 versus Give Growth. I put a link to the little poll. If that's something we need to talk about, we can do that. Also, anything on design and marketing strategy or Give Economy sprint priorities. I feel like the hiring is the one that I wanted to jump to after this conversation, but I'm open if somebody else sees another priority.
I also just wanted to touch on, now that we have our circles determined, how we move forward with regular reward payments, because I'm creating this contributors guide so people can get rewarded. So knowing whether they propose a trace to a certain circle or whether we're just going to use one campaign and just stick with the Giveth 2 and we just all propose our traces to that one. How will we go forward now that we have our circles established?
Okay.
Are we talking about that now, or are we talking about the hiring?
Kind of like to jump into the hiring workflow.
Cool. Well, I'm going to post a link right now in the DAO channel for a really cool tool that I want to propose that we look into. Bruce Finton told me about this in Miami, he said it was just the most amazing tool, and I love the sound of it. So I just posted a link. There's this tool is called VidCruiter. There's also other tools that do the same thing, but I think it's going to be a really valuable tool for us and other DAOs for hiring. So, you can imagine in a traditional hiring process, you get a bunch of you put out a job description, you get a bunch of applications, you schedule interviews, you do the interviews, and then you make a decision, right? And how do you do that in a decentralized way where the community has the ability to see this and make this process transparent? This is the tool we can use. So it enables you to do these recorded interviews where basically we can come up with the questions we want to ask, and maybe we could even have a forum post for anyone who has an idea for a question that should be asked and kind of comment that idea. Then somebody records themselves asking these questions, and you put out a link where anyone can basically submit an application. And the way it works is that it'll play whoever asked the question. It'll play the recording of you asking the question, and then it'll switch to the interviewee, and it'll start a timer. And they can then answer the question while getting recorded. And you can give them multiple takes, or you can choose to just give them one take. Then at the end, once we have all of these applications, we can look at them side by side and watch people's answers to these questions and compare each response. And anyone in the community can kind of see the videos, and anyone that we give access to, and we can figure out exactly how that works, but can see these videos and weigh in on it. What do you guys think? I think it's an amazing tool and could really help us a lot. What do you guys think?
I actually took an interview with this tool. It was a while ago where like I was supposed to have an interview. The only surprise for me was back then I was thinking like, okay, I will be talking with a person, right? And then all of a sudden I get this like pre-recorded person thing, robot kind of thing, whatever. And I was like, okay, cool. Well, at least I can think about my answers and record myself a couple of times or whatever. So anyway, yeah, I think it's cool, especially it will work really good for us here because everybody else can then look at those. The only thing is like I don't know, first of all, how does the backend look like? So how do we manage access to all this stuff? Where is it stored? And how much does this cost actually? So. Sorry, someone was trying to say something before me or was competing with me. Danny, was it you?
Yeah, well, so I wanted to ask another question because you said, Willie, you said we can give access to people to go review it, and I'm curious what the feedback, is there a feedback process built into it to give comments or vote or once people on the team review it, what is that? Is it built in for how people can provide their feedback or scoring something?
It's a great question. I've never used this tool, and yes, all of these are really good questions that we should go look into. I do see they have like the ability to rate these applicants, but I'm not sure exactly what the permission process there looks like. Worst case though, like let's say they don't have that, we can make it clear that hey, if you're going to be doing this interview, we're going to share this with our community. It's going to be like published basically. People will be able to see it, and we could always use like our other polling tools and stuff to get feedback, like in the discourse forum and stuff. We might have to get creative, but my hope is that this tool or a similar tool will have those tools built in. But great questions that we should go answer if we like the idea of it.
And I think the forum has the option to create like private topics too, to where only certain people of certain trust levels can see them. So it might work to do a feedback process in there.
Great point.
Excuse me. I just asked about discussion in this, subject, and that was my question here. That who decide we can employ, for example, a consultant, a developer who is eligible to decide that, and who is going to confirm, and how much does it take, for example, for confirming that person, for evaluating that person. And who is responsible for that? Who is going to make a job description? Sorry.
Yeah, I think that was a question that also Danny asked. Like, is the process already built in this with the recorder, with the interview, whatever? I think the process should be created by us internally, and then for development. First, writing the job description. We got Hannah, and she can work on that, and then first screening, she can do that. Just background check and all that stuff. And then built-in process for developers could probably be speak with, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 developers on board, and then speak to the lead developer, and then everybody, kind of maybe gives their opinion, maybe some votes or something like that, and based on those votes, that person either goes through or not to the next round or whatever, something like that. Same goes for designers or everybody else. But the people who will be deciding will probably be developers for developers, designers for designers, communication people for communication people, for marketing or whatever. I think that should be the case, definitely.
Yeah, well, we can look to what we've done with Lauren and Ashley in the past. Once people have been contributing and identified a role they want to work on, then we put together a job description and let them make a proposal to request to the DAO that they receive regular awards for that role and work on defining that. So that's worked for the role for communications and other things. Obviously, with the smart contract developer or designer, those are things where we are looking to the person who's running that area to be able to write a description for exactly what we need and do the interviews. I see Griff kind of thinking it, because that process was pretty challenging. We wrote descriptions, we posted it all over, we interviewed a lot of people, and sometimes we don't find the right fit using that process. I like this video idea. I think making it more personal in this way is a good fit for Giveth. I'm very interested in that. Also, I just really like the approach that we've had so far, that show up and say you are interested in being part of this family and being a unicorn or a cheeseburger, whoever you are. But kind of showing up and letting us know who you are and seeing how to fit into the Giveth ecosystem, and then being able to craft something that way has been very nice so far. And I did like our proposal process. Lauren, Ashley, maybe you guys can share how that felt for you to see where you could fit in, to write a job description in collaboration with us, and then to put the proposal up. It felt pretty good to have everybody vote you in, right? I see Griff with a finger up.
Okay, I'll just interrupt, even though you were prompted. So I think we're in a real strong transition, and it's hard to decipher exactly what we're even talking about. I mean, right now, it's just like I'm paying some of this, most of this. I think we're trying to milk what we have in the Giveth coffers until we run out, and I think we'll run out this month, and I will go back to funding everyone. So in general, right now, it's really simple. You guys just tell me, and I basically decide, because it's I'm paying, right? But in the long run, we're moving to a DAO that has with lots of money in it that will make decisions. And in general, it's really nice to have decisions at the edges, like what Willie is working on with Shapeshift and Colony. All the decisions happen in these little groups. And I really liked what Marco had to say about designers hiring designers and da-da-da. But there's also a money management and a team management decision that needs to be made. Otherwise, the designers will just hire a hell of a lot of designers, right? And so there are a lot of dynamics that need to be understood. And I think in general, it's kind of different teams will need to request funds from the DAO, and then ideally there's someone to manage those funds who is kind of holding the stewardship of the funds in that whatever team has it. And that outside of that team, it almost doesn't need to be discussed who they hire. For instance, what Amin and Monique are looking for a security expert to take a 1 or 2 month approach at doing pen testing on the dApps to make sure they're secure. I mean, I don't think that necessarily needs to go to a DAO vote. What needs to go to a DAO vote is getting the funds for the next 6 months of funding, and then Amin and Monique and the people who are stewarding those funds need to decide, oh yeah, absolutely, we need to do pen testing and this is worth it, and then we'll request more funds to compensate for that later or whatever. But hopefully we can avoid these big DAO. As we scale, we'll need to really try to pull these things into smaller groups and trust the group to have overarching goals that they're trying to achieve, like a secure application, and do what they need, hire who they need to hire for that. But of course, also remembering that we have some back office support with Freshell and Heather, who used to go by Hannah. The other Hannah, who is now Heather, who was always Heather. So they can help a lot. And also with this transition off topic, for source cred at the very beginning of this call, I think you guys should loop in Freshell. Just throwing that out there. Okay, Willie?
Hey guys, I love everything that's been said so far. I completely agree. We're definitely in a transition to this DAO, and things are going to change. And we're also in a transition of growing a little bit. And so in the past, we were making proposals for every individual contributor to the DAO, and that worked when we're a small team. But as we grow and prepare ourselves for scaling, and as we establish these working groups, I want to share what we're doing at Shapeshift, and I'm really excited that we can finally share this stuff. And I think this can work really well for us as well. But the idea here, it touches on a lot of what you guys have been saying as well. the idea is that we're using Colony for this, and we can have basically, instead of having every funding request for every individual and every hiring request for every individual getting approved by the DAO, we can use a Colony or a similar tool. We could even use Giveth Trace for this, and have each work stream or working group be its own campaign on Giveth Trace, which I think would be pretty cool. And the idea is that the DAO will have the ability to like appoint workstream leaders. So it's still very decentralized, and people can apply to be leaders of a workstream. People can propose a new workstream. If a workstream leader isn't doing a great job, then someone else can propose replacing them, and the DAO can actually have the ability to replace these leaders, either on Giveth Trace or on Colony. And then, just like Griff was saying, and like Marco was saying, we can have these work streams, and really these work stream leaders, ideally, or anyone in the work stream though, request funding. And to do that, they should, have ideally some goals for their work stream and some KPIs, some metrics that they're going to use to track their success. And then people can, the DAO can just approve these funding requests to these work streams. And then the work streams can actually like deploy their funding autonomously. And they don't need to actually go through a whole governance process just to spend their funds that they've already gotten approved. They just need to make sure that they're allocating their funds in a way that's going to help achieve their goals, so that they can hopefully continue getting more funding from the DAO. I think this will work really well, and the tools for this are out there. And I think it would also be really cool to potentially use Giveth Trace for this. But this, I think, makes a lot of sense, and it helps bring some really strong organizational structure to instead of having just a completely flat organization, but it still does feel very, very decentralized, because ultimately the token holders are still controlling who the workstream leaders are and how much funding they're getting. And then also, I think something that we can do is put together, in addition to having the process for people to like apply to be workstream leaders and propose new workstreams, which we can copy a lot of this from Shapeshift. We can have a little form for interested in contributing that is really simple form. It's just we have one that's just 2 questions. And it just asks, which work stream are you interested in contributing to? And how much are you interested in contributing, basically? So you can have all the work streams here, and then some options for how much people are interested in contributing. Then the work stream leaders can follow up with these people whenever they're looking to expand their team. And they can also, the workstream leader will have the ability to if they think they need another team member, to post a job description and to request funding from the DAO to fund that additional job. I was sharing my screen that time. I don't know if anyone saw it too, but did you guys see that? I'll post a link to this in the DAO channel. All right, I just posted a link to it in the DAO channel if anyone wants to check it out. There's a really nice diagram.
Great, thank you. You're muted, Danny.
Sorry, thanks. This prompted me to want to check in sorry, that's why I was muted. With Ashley, you asked about how to make traces on which circles for regular rewards, and I think the answer that we see here is we're designing a new solution for going forward, and it probably will be more into these circles and work streams. But I think your question is, how do we do it right now, right?
Yeah, and I'm also hearing that too as we're talking about this transition and going to a DAO moving forward, but we're not quite there yet. We still have some things, so maybe we just come up with something for right now as far as, proposing a trace. Maybe we just use the Giveth 2 campaign and we all propose our traces to there until we get this kind of system established and more into where the DAO is making the decisions. And then we can create campaigns for each circle or working group as they come up and start proposing our traces to there, I guess is kind of what I'm hearing.
I have resistance to it being on Giveth 2, so I get stuck when I hear that part. I would think if we're doing regular rewards and payouts and we're not pushing it out to the individual circles or work streams yet, it might make sense to keep it in something like governance where we can put the funds in. Giveth to, I know it does have some funds in it, but so far that's just been for like pan distributions and other things. So that would be a decision, and this is probably definitely something that should go to a forum post.
Yeah, okay. I just suggested, the reason I suggested Giveth too is I just know that that's the campaign that has the most funds in it, and then we wouldn't have to create transactions to send funds around. But
Yeah.
if we need to do it differently, I'm not opposed.
Yeah, for ease of where things are and what everybody's used to, it's probably the obvious choice. Just process-wise, it doesn't make sense when I look at the traces to have people working on things that aren't Giveth to under the Giveth to campaign.
So the other question is, like, realistically, we're talking about transitioning to this DAO, making the decisions, and what's the scope on that, like, time-wise? If we think about it realistically, what are we looking at before that kind of thing is starting?
Hard to say. Depends on when we launch the economy. Now that DAppNode is launched, we can really start, but Edu and I haven't had a chance to really talk about timelines on what he's comfortable with. And also Gardens is a big unknown about when that'll be ready for XDAI mainnet. I didn't get a chance to really talk with Sasha because he was very COVID careful, and I just didn't get to see him very much. So, but hopefully this week we'll have some ideas of timelines. But it's
Yeah.
not
And I think
this month. What I'd say is not in 5 days or 4 days where we have and probably not next month either.
Right.
But
Okay.
hopefully the month after.
Okay. Well, I feel pretty comfortable that we can get something dialed in here for this next 4 days. If going with Giveth 2 is what makes sense, I wouldn't object to it. Just raise a concern and get some clarifying questions in the forum here this week to figure out how we'll do that one.
Okay, cool. I'm working on the PAN proposal process too, so I can put both of those in the forum and we can talk about how that looks and get feedback around those ideas.
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, well, we've got just a couple minutes here at the top of the hour. I'm really excited to work on a lot of this stuff with Hannah and Ashley and Lauren all in person here this week, and get a lot of this payment stuff cleaned up and everybody's amounts in their traces. I saw Amin, Ramin, Mohammed, I've got your new traces up and approved to get your PAN distributions. Thank you very much for getting those in here in the last couple of days. Really looking forward to having all of this cleaned up this week. So I'll be posting what I find and asking for your feedback. So hopefully when we make the distribution this time, we'll get the correction in. We'll have the right numbers. We'll get source cred updated and the right people added into the right places. So we're tracking you. And now I know that Ranger is Mohammed. That was puzzling us for the last couple of weeks. So really appreciate all your feedback, everybody, and your direct messages. And I'm feeling better this week, but definitely still on the mend. So thank you for your patience with me as I've been healing for this last 2 weeks. And yay, let's have a great week together. Any other questions or anything that you need to get in with this last couple of minutes here? I think the other things we can all work on online on the posts. Praise, throw in all your praise, everybody. I'm going through and doing those calculations right now for last quarter and seeing, there's a lot of room. Everybody's been doing some amazing things. So thank you all. Have a great day.